Mom deserves the best, and there's no better place to shop for Mother's Day than Whole Foods Market. They're your destination for unbeatable savings, from premium gifts to show-stopping flowers and irresistible desserts. Start by saving 33% with Prime on all body care and candles. Then get a 15-stem bunch of tulips for just $9.99 each with Prime. Round out Mom's menu with festive rosé, irresistible berry chantilly cake, and more special treats. Come celebrate Mother's Day at Whole Foods Market.
Welcome to ImmaLetYouFinish.
Hey, happy Lunar New Year to those of you. And of course, we're saying that today, and then it's going to run in 2 weeks, and it won't be Lunar New Year. But the important thing is that we thought of you.
Yeah, it's us. It's Amy and Courtney, Black Oprah and White Gail.
I don't know if I want to be associated with Oprah or Gail anymore.
Oh my
we
God,
might
that
have
is
to,
true.
We may have to find somebody else.
Are we going to be like Jenny Jones and Sally Jesse Raphael?
I want to be Black Faith Hill, and you can be White Tim McGraw.
Okay. Welcome. I'm going to let you finish. We're coming to you again in partnership with Listening Party Presents, and we're recording out of the fabulous Canal Street Radio in the Canal Street Market in good old downtown New York City.
Where all you need is a rainstorm and Canal Street is empty.
So we're taping today. Today's the 25th. The Grammys are tomorrow. So we're going to have a little talk about that later. But we want to start because the last time we saw you, we spoke to you guys.
And by
see you,
you mean here.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was right before the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So now we know who's gotten in and who did not.
And you're looking at me like it's my fault.
It is your fault.
Okay, cool. All right, so who got in were the Doobie Brothers, Pat Benatar, T-Rex, I don't even remember. Oh, Whitney Houston and Biggie. Was there one other person? Oh, yeah, Depeche Mode and 9 Inch Nails. Did that many people get in?
Yeah.
All right, so I voted for... who did I vote for? All right, so I voted for Pat Benatar for you. I voted for T-Rex for our friend Ben Merlis. I voted for, now I'm going to admit that I did not vote for Whitney because I sort of had a sense that she might win, and I like to be strategic.
Right.
So I voted for Shaka.
Okay.
I voted for Biggie. And I voted for Kraftwerk. Kraftwerk is basically the Susan Lucci.
They have been on the
ballot. 100.
It's amazing to me that they actually make it every year on that ballot.
Well, you have to remember who nominates. It's a bunch of music people.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like the old thing, like, 6 people bought the Velvet Underground record and they all made a band. So nobody else knows who they are.
Yeah.
So, as a woman...
Mm-hmm.
And as a woman on the nominating committee, and as a woman in real life too, the sparsity of women, it's appalling at this point. It's absolutely. Evelyn McDonald, who is doing an amazing job keeping fire under people's asses on this. Shout out to Evelyn. Does charts and graphs, and there's like 3% of the Hall of Fame are women, which is just insane.
Well, you know what's really crazy? I just thought, okay, well, Pat Benatar. She's tailor-made. She's beloved. She's still out there working.
Right.
She's got a catalog of songs and albums, string of successful gold and platinum albums.
Iconic look.
She was selling out arenas all over the world. She was
commercial.
You know what I mean? It's like
she checked every box.
It made I could not. And her first time on the ballot after being eligible for 15 years, like
more probably.
But
probably more.
It was so. I just knew I was so excited that morning. I'm like, I had my Pat Benatar records out. I was ready to start playing them, and the list came, and I kept looking. I said, "Oh no, I need the right list because this can't be the right list."
Well, what's interesting, this is the first time since they instituted the fan ballot where the fan choice, which was the Dave Matthews Band, which I'm sorry, do not deserve to be in, at least not at this point in their career, and Pat Benatar was number 2. So I was very surprised that Pat did not get in.
Yeah.
I was not a yay Pat, but I thought that she did check every single box you need. But then, I voted for her because she's a girl.
Right.
Damn fucking right I voted. I mean, we need female. It's not like I was voting for somebody heinous. But I read some interesting and just post-mortem stuff. I mean, first off, I'll say there's not anybody who got inducted who does not warrant being in there.
Okay, yeah, I will say that.
They may not be my favorite group of all time. I'm not a Depeche Mode person, but they certainly warrant being there.
Yeah.
Should they be in before Kraftwerk? Of course not.
Right.
But that horse is whatever.
Yeah.
Is on the Autobahn right now.
Right.
It doesn't make any difference. But here's the thing about Patton. I read some comments, obviously, because there's nothing that middle-aged white men like to do more than rant and rave about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's bullshit. It doesn't mean anything. And now I'm going to tweet for 5 days about it.
Until their favorite act gets it. And
Until
they're
their
like,
favorite.
It's about time.
This is the most important award.
Right.
Fuck the Nobel Peace
Right.
Prize. I think the thing with Patton, somebody pointed this out. She is great. She is loved. She's all those things. But she had a moment, and the moment never went further than the moment. And also, she didn't really campaign for it. And it is political. Not that you have to shake people's hands, but you heard no statement from her like, wow, I'm really glad. She was sort of one of these people I think everybody thought was going to get in, and maybe nobody voted for her because everybody thought she was going to get in. But I don't think she generates passion the way, I think they screwed up. I think she should be in.
I think that's bullshit.
Yeah, but I mean,
if it's about your merit, you shouldn't have to campaign over your merit. The body of work should speak for itself.
But I mean,
and the people who vote are supposed to be music people.
Well, they're not, but they're not all music people.
Right.
I'm not saying campaign like going door to door.
No, I know what that means. I know what it means, but
Yeah.
it's like, it's unfortunate. It's like when you really understand how these awards work.
Right.
I think even now when we talk about the Grammy stuff later, I don't know if a lot of people realize there's Grammy nominating committees, and every year, like, people go out and representatives of labels and artists go out and do presentations about their music. It's like,
it's a road tour.
It's a whole thing. Instead of your body of them saying, you know what, your body of work, who you were to this industry, means something. Now it's like, now come in front of us, and tell us why you should be in.
Well, I'm not saying that in that sense. I know exactly what you're saying, but what I just mean is, I think that she's someone who had. Here's what I will object. Okay, she had a moment in a lot of ways that Def Leppard had a moment, yet they got in, and she didn't.
Well, they're men.
Yeah, and they may be more influential, though I don't know who they influence, and I have nothing against them. I just think, I don't understand, out of all all types of music, you would think that the girl thing would not matter as much in this, because this is something, and especially since she rocked as hard as a guy did, I mean, I don't get it. There's a lot of backlash, obviously, against Whitney. Very racist, very sexist. Bullshit. I think we can both agree that the name Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is no longer meant to be taken literally, and
Absolutely.
That's not a bad thing.
Right.
And I'm so tired of the only rock Whitney had was in a pipe. Really? Did you stay up all night thinking of that tacky, tasteless,
so
racist?
Dumb.
So dumb. Because there's no one in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame who's done drugs.
I mean,
at all.
Sweetie, they would have just gone up there and given Stevie Nicks a plate of Klonopin and Coke and be like, sweetie, take a choice. Which one? The powder or the pills?
But we love Stevie.
I did not know that. I did not know that Tina Turner was not in there as a solo act. She's in there under Ike and Tina Turner.
With the husband who beat her.
I'm like...
the husband who beat her.
How is she not in as a solo act?
Excuse me, Carole King is not in as a solo act. And, she made a little record. Nobody really heard it. It was an underground record, Tapestry. I mean, I saw it. I think it was big in Lithuania. Are you fucking kidding me with this shit?
She wrote You Make Me Feel Like a Natural Woman. Well, that alone should get you in.
Pish tish.
You know what I mean?
Pish tish.
Right, anyway, that's enough of that.
Yeah,
so,
anyway. Well,
okay, wait. It is a high national holiday around here.
And every day is a high national holiday for Courtney.
Hey, Mr. Budman. Let me just tell you something, kids.
You have songs?
Yesterday.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yesterday.
Okay, I'm adjusting.
Something momentous happened.
Amazing.
It was groundbreaking, and sparkles came from the sky.
Pet Shop Boys. Hot Spot.
They dropped a new album.
Oh, they dropped it.
It is 10 glorious songs of pure pop perfection.
It's perfection.
And let me just say this.
It's perfection.
It is a shame that we live in such an ageist society when it comes to music.
No shit.
That
when it comes to anything, excuse me.
Absolutely. But you would think the thing where they don't even have to see you. It's just your voice.
Right.
But if they know you're a certain age, especially in the U.S., there's no format of radio for you.
I know.
And this album is 99% better than all of the pop albums you have heard for the last 8 months.
Oh, easy. And not for nothing, I would say 85% of those pop albums that you've been listening to would not exist without these guys in the first place.
Yeah, it's just it's
perfect.
I can't recommend it enough. I know we always talk about them, we love them, but it's just good.
Well, the thing about
music.
them too, though, I mean, and it's really hard to do a good dance track that you can listen to sitting down.
This is true.
And they write. I've never understood why no one has ever done a tribute to the Pet Shop Boys. They write great pop songs, and their interviews are hilarious.
Yeah.
And they're smart as shit. And look, they're not. We don't have to do a telethon for them because they sell lots of records. And I didn't know they're like the 10th biggest selling artist of all time in England or something. I'm making up a number here, but they do really, really. All we can say is get this record, Hotspot. Right?
It is absolutely, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love
and
it.
we
love it,
can't
love it.
just keep talking about how much we love them. But you want to hear something crazy though? I was getting my hair did the other day. You didn't notice that I cut like. You didn't notice that I cut like.
No, I did. When you walked up, I noticed your hair. Actually,
I'm saying you don't have. We have gay friends for a reason. Courtney. Anyway, so I want to preface this by saying absolutely adorable little twink that was cutting. Actually, he wasn't really. He was a little beefy for a twink, but you know what I mean. Really sweet. So we're talking about music and blah blah blah. He worships Lana Del Rey because of course he did. Of course he does.
Yeah, of course.
He loves Robin. That one song of hers.
Yeah,
of course,
Dancing on My Own.
Right.
Yeah.
It's great. And then I said,
it comes with the penis with purchase.
It does. It really does. It really does. You get your prep.
Yeah, you get it all. It comes in a whole package.
Right.
12-inch single.
Right. And then you get an HIV test and a Robin single. And then I said to him, "Oh, you must love Pet Shop Boys." Okay. He had no idea who they were. And I said, "Not even West End Girls?" No idea. And his supervisor, because I go to the salon where they teach you, and the supervisor comes over, and the supervisor was more using up all the gay in the world.
Right.
And I said, "This young man does not know who Pet Shop Boys is." And the supervisor went, "It's a good thing you're graduating in 2 weeks." I said, "What?" And he goes, "He's only 20.
Oh, well there you go.
There you go.
That's why he wouldn't
But
know.
gays, each one teach one. Come on.
We try. They have to be receptive to it. We really. But listen, guys, it starts with a bang. It ends with a bang.
Gays?
What is it? Wedding in Berlin. That wedding in Berlin just makes me twirl.
No,
and
everything. I
twirl
was
and
dancing.
twirl.
I was dancing and sweeping at the same time.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so good.
And
guys.
I just love his deadpan. He's just so British in the best, just deadpan, but smart. Read the interview in The Guardian. It's absolutely fucking hilarious.
And here's the thing.
They want to ban acoustic guitars.
Okay.
They said,
Yeah.
Chris Lowe goes, "I think we should ban acoustic guitars." And then, of course, there's an acoustic guitar on the album. But
What I love too is the really great songwriting, and I think that's what a lot of people don't talk about when they talk about with them. That the lyrics are great.
Oh,
it's just
political.
Yeah,
there are a lot of songs about anti-Brexit songs.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's the thing. Like I said, that was what was great about Dr. Buzzard and
Right.
Kid Creole. It is it's really easy to make people, not easy, but it's relatively easy to make people dance. But to make people dance and think and listen.
Right.
Nile Rodgers, Pet Shop Boys,
Yeah.
Dr. Buzzard. That's a skill, and
Absolutely.
these guys do it. And they never sacrifice the beats for the songs or the songs for the beats.
And sometimes you don't even realize what you're singing until later, and then when you listen, you really hear the lyrics. You're like, oh.
Have we shamelessly, metaphorically sucked their dicks enough?
I mean,
I love them
listen,
so much.
It's just, I'm always excited when they come.
Me too.
And our buddy Bill over at Peace Biscuit, shout out to those guys at Peace Biscuit.
Yeah.
He hit me after I sent it. He was like, "Thank God for the Pet Shop Boys." And then he said, when they come on tour next time, we need to go. And I'm like, yes. And this tour is a greatest hits tour.
Oh, it is the greatest hits tour.
Oh my God. Being Boring? Are you kidding?
Oh, Being Boring. I saw that tour.
Single bilingual?
When that album came out,
Yeah.
I saw the Being Boring tour. And it was like, fuck Hamilton. This was like
Right.
the best stage show
Right.
I've ever seen in my life. No, we're going. No, if we're going to have to seriously, I'm going to have to pull every card I have.
No, we will be in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, tomorrow's the Grammys, right? It's usually like, yay, rah, rah, who's nominated? No one is talking about the show. No one's
they're talking about the show.
Well,
they're talking about the show behind the show.
No one's talking about the music.
Nope.
But you know what they are talking about?
Yes. All right.
They're talking about our good girlfriend, Deborah Dugan.
Deborah Dugan. All right. So why don't we I first got wind of this, full disclosure, a million years ago, I voted in the Grammys. Did you ever vote in the Grammys?
Yeah,
you
a million years ago.
A million years ago. And honestly, I stopped doing it because you have to pay.
Yes, you do.
So I'm like, why?
Because it's a foundation.
Yeah, it's a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit, but you don't get anything. You
Right.
don't get a T-shirt.
No, you
nothing.
pay, and then it's like if you want a ticket, you pay for that.
Right. Yeah, I was like,
there's a lot of you pay.
Yeah, there's a lot of you pay, and then you get the satisfaction of sitting home going, oh, I voted for them.
Right.
And maybe a publicist would take you out for a meal or
Right.
something like that. All right, so about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So all right, in the capsule version is that the longstanding head of NARS, Neil Portnoy,
Yeah.
stepped down last year. He had been sort of under fire because the Grammys, like a lot of other places, were not a lot of women being represented once again. And he made some sort of crack about, women need to step up.
Yeah, he said some shit like that.
And they were like, step off.
Women were like what?
Fuck you.
That was just.
Yeah.
But you know what's really funny? That's really telling in the story coming back around
Well, that's
full
what
circle.
I'm saying.
That he made that comment then, because you're like, Well,
that's the thing. So, I mean, all right.
But this shit is much deeper than anybody thought. We all always thought that the Grammys were rigged, right? Everybody always not rigged. Let me say rigged. Okay, let me say rigged.
Rigged is a scary word. It's
when people say rigged,
word.
Yeah. Let me say it like this. There were times that I thought certain things were really odd, right? You speak to all of these different people and they're all like, I voted for this, I voted for this, and then those songs didn't get on the ballot, or things that it had all of the momentum going in, and you expect it to win, and then it's
really
random shit comes out of left field,
like
and you're just kind of like
weird album track
that
wasn't even the single,
and it wins, and you're like, oh.
Interesting.
Okay. All right. I don't know how that happened. I didn't even know that exists. There's been so many of them. I'm like, that exists?
Really? Or they just performed and what a coinky dink. They just won the award. And you'd go, we know that happens with the AMAs.
Yeah. Well, where does that come from?
Where does that come from?
The AMAs is the pathmark of the award shows.
Well, the AMAs, and what's so funny is that the AMAs make the VMAs, the music awards, look like participatory democracy. There's like, who gives a fuck?
So
get back. Let's
talk like.
So she was brought in. She was brought in basically to clean house and get things right. And she came from mainly nonprofit. She'd been.
She worked with Red.
She worked with Red. So I didn't know who she was. But she seemed like fine. Perfectly fine. And then it seems like as soon as she started shaking a branch, they were like, "Get out of our tree."
It was like the dead iguanas falling out the tree in Florida.
The den of iguanas.
This shit came flying.
Oh, is that the thing? I saw somebody making iguana roti in a sink. They were cleaning. That's a whole nother. What?
Okay.
They were cleaning a.
We'll come back to that. I'll
hold that reptile. Anyway, so there's a bunch of charts. You have them in front of me because for some reason I can't bring my.
But here's the thing. This story has everything, though. It has everything.
It's like Stefan.
It has everything. There's rape allegation.
Oh, love a good rape allegation.
Like sexual misconduct allegations.
Of course.
She's saying vote rigging allegations.
It's basically the Trump administration.
Abuse. It's like
verbal abuse.
Okay. And I've had that debate that I know that you've had recently with somebody. And we're like, we can't just believe her because she's a woman. You can't believe her. You just can't believe. And I do understand the theory of not just jumping in and believing somebody full stop.
Jesse.
Right. Except some of that shit she was saying, we never knew that there were allegations against Neil Portnow about sleeping with a woman.
Of course.
And there was an investigation about that. And he supposedly was cleared, but there was an investigation.
Right. And it was all internal.
And there was another situation with somebody saying that they were sexually harassed and was told if they went to
Human
HR that you might as well quit. Your job is over. So And listen, I worked in the music industry for a long time.
Right.
The shit with women is different.
No,
the
it's
shit with
very
female
different.
artists is different. The conversations that I've been privy to,
Of
and I've
course.
sat in rooms and heard, and you're just kind of like,
Or
what
the fact that they
fucking
have
fuck?
our friend Lisa Cortez had a lawsuit years ago because she ran a label, and it's sort of like the meetings are being held places where she can't go. You know, the meetings are held on the golf clubs or
Right.
you know, stupid places. It's still a boys' club. Yeah, there's a few women here and there. There's the Julie Greenwalds. There's, you know, people like that. But it's still a boys' club. So,
Right.
I mean, the individual... I'll tell you why I believe the rape thing I'm not going to get into because that's really kind of a serious...
It is. And to me, I feel like I don't want to hear that third party. I want to hear
No.
that from the person who's
Yeah.
affected. Third
Yeah.
party makes that a little icky. And her bringing
Yeah.
that up, I get she's trying to make this point.
Right.
Because I'm like, because I'm also looking saying, did you ask for $22 million to go away quietly? Is that real? Because that's a little weird too.
They made it unquiet, though.
Right.
Like, you know, they are the one... I know Chuck D sent out a letter last week. She's getting the support from the artists.
Because the artists have had a problem with the Grammys for a very long time. So artists have always spoken out against the Grammys, including, remember, Drake. A lot of people have been very vocal.
Hip-hop artists, I mean, come on. They
Right.
used to give the hip-hop award off camera
They
in a
still
parking lot.
A couple of them happen on camera. The majority of them still happen off camera.
Well, the majority of the awards happen off camera, to
But
be fair.
they've been looking for an end, really, to kind of break open this foundation and rejigger it. And this is like...
Well, I will say...
And do you see all of the conflicting... The statements are flying back and forth and back.
Well, there's two
No one's talking about this show.
magazines that are doing, I think, really, really great reporting on it. Billboard is one of them,
Yeah, they
and
are.
then Variety.
Yeah,
Melinda Newman
Variety
and Jem
is
Aswad.
on
This is
it.
his story.
Yeah, they're on
And
it.
so I have to say that when an industry Bible is policing, they are literally biting the hand that feeds them, and so I kind of believe them. You know,
I'm going to say, just from the shit that she's saying, that does not sound unreasonable to me.
and what does she
I
have
believe
to
her.
gain? What does she have to gain?
I do. I believe her. Yeah.
And also, I mean, big surprise. The votes are. I mean, I think we can assume the votes are rigged in almost any kind of entertainment.
I feel
thing.
bad for the people was it the record of the year, the song of the year category, when she was like, two artists who moved up and it booped away records from Ariana Grande and Ed Sheeran. So now everybody in that category
is now feeling like cheap.
And who is it? Because
Right.
she knows, and she said in that interview and said, well, I don't want to say it because it's not fair to the artist. I'm like,
I have my
I said,
theory.
and I get that,
Right.
but you just said this, so everyone in that category now feels like shit.
Like, I don't
and if they
belong here.
win,
Right.
was it me? Did I take someone else's spot?
Right.
It's fierce.
You know what I thought
It's
was
so fierce because she's blowing up the fucking house right as the Grammys
10
are
days,
happening.
10
Wait,
days before.
and Ken Ehrlich, who artists love,
Do they?
Oh, because you know what? Because Ken has
I'm
put
not saying that to be
well,
mean.
I
I'm
mean,
saying
he's
to-
put a lot of people on TV. He has a lot of relationships, so he's called a lot of artists personally.
Yeah.
Well, you all will see it by the time this show comes out. So they're doing this big finale to him with like Gary Clark Jr., Camila Cabello, Cyndi Lauper,
Okay.
John Legend. And do you know what song they're singing that he picked?
We Are the World?
No, it's even worse than that.
Oh.
Did you see the movie Fame from 1980?
Yes.
Do you know the end song when they graduate from high school and they sing, I seek the body? Yes, Miss Thing. That's happening. So you guys will be seeing that and you will know exactly what I mean when you see it. It's like, of all motherfucking songs in the universe,
That's like...
you're going to make, and I couldn't believe those. I know some people who will reach out and their artists turned it down. They're like, I can't. I love Ken, and Ken has put me on TV because Ken's retiring. This is why the Taylor Swift thing is a thing, right? Because this is Ken's last stand. Ken is older.
Right.
I believe he's almost 80.
Right.
And he's like, I'm done. I'm retiring.
Yeah, of course.
Ken has put a lot of people on TV and TV
No, he's
shows.
also kept a lot of people off Ariana Grande last year.
And it's like, he's got his shit.
Right,
and he's
of course.
But and so a lot of people felt that I will come and I will
Right,
do
to
this
pay
last show
homage
for
for
you,
him.
which is why it was supposed to be a surprise Taylor Swift performance.
And now it's a shit show of
And
epic
now
proportions.
it's a shit show. But I'm sure she's got that push and pull of it's Ken's last show. Like a lot of
she
people
can sing for him in a bathroom. if she
yeah,
needs
but
to.
it's that thing that artists feel, right? If somebody's helped you along your career and they make the call and you say I'm coming, then the shit blows up.
Yeah, but can I tell you something? Taylor Swift would have existed with or without Kennerly.
It's not about existing. It's about, and you never worked at a record company.
No.
Like back in the day, like
I dodged that
those looks,
Yeah,
they really
that's
want
true.
those looks. Everybody is fighting for
Right.
those slots because you know what? Especially now in the streaming world, put them in front of them. I want
Right,
people to
right.
go and stream this record over and over. She's got a new single that dropped this week. She's got that movie that's coming. So, that's that easy
Right.
promotion. Let me get on the Grammys. There's a gazillion eyeballs that are going to see me. And now it's like,
really. Well, there's two things. I want to get back to the accusations, and we'll talk about the actual awards. One thing I thought was very interesting. As you know, whenever there's allegations of something, it's usually anonymous. It's
Right.
usually like,
Yeah, yeah.
well, it's always anonymous, but it's like an employee or
Right.
something. It's very interesting that they named that it was a female employee that lodged the.
well, that was the shitty part where you could tell this is getting really crazy.
I mean, this was like a very kind of making sure that you knew
and they
it
let
wasn't.
they let us know who it is too.
Oh, it is? Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
Was it Portnoy's former
Oldest,
assistant?
yes, who they said is going to be your new assistant.
Oh, well,
so
then
she inherited
shocking.
she inherited his assistant, and suddenly it was like she's mean and she's hard. And it's like, you know what? This sounds
Yeah, that's the evil stepmother. Big
this
news. Yeah.
This is a full fucking show.
Yeah.
Full of shade.
So that makes me, again, I mean, we don't know, we won't know, but it just seems like this is a professional. This is not some crazy soap opera actor. This is not somebody. This is a woman who has a pretty much pristine and respected reputation. Why would she do this to herself? Why would she do this to herself? My question.
I can tell by the way everybody's reacting that a lot of that shit is real because
yeah.
the statements flying back and
Right.
forth and the denials, but the denials read a little hollow.
No, the denials read very CYA.
Yeah, yeah.
But the thing is, what's going to be the reaction tomorrow? Are people going to say, is this going to be a me? Because this isn't a Me Too. She's not out. She's not saying that someone sexually abused her. This
No.
is a Me Too is in the.
But she's saying that this organization is broken. There are some real issues here,
It is.
and there are real women issues here.
Right.
And there's a culture here that is broken.
It's like when we talked about with Russell in that documentary.
Right.
Big shock. Next, you're going to tell me there's gambling in Casablanca. Okay. There's sexism in the music industry. What?
Anyway,
So it'll be interesting because you have in Alicia Keys, whatever you think of her for whatever reason, she is someone who has positioned herself and holds herself out as a spokesperson for women.
Yeah.
She has an organization, Women in Music.
Yes.
No one is expecting her to get up there and go, "That's it, I quit." But
No.
are there going to be armbands? Are there going to be ribbons? Are there going to be subtle little T-shirts?
I expect her to say something. You want to know why? Because she has kind of taken that mantle of
Yes.
being like sister power.
Right.
So how do you host this show
With
and
all this
this
shit
dark
going on?
cloud with this woman is hanging over it? You got to say something at some point, and I do believe she will in a dewy,
Something.
moisturized,
in a no
non-makeup
makeup wearing
look.
way. Because as her new single says, this is for the hustlers and another boring song. Oh, you know what?
I do actually like the Underdog song. This is for the wait, how's it go?
Yeah,
This is
it just
I
seems like an after school special.
But you know what? Poor Alicia, because like no one's giving a shit. And I do. She's had a couple of songs I like. There's another one called Time Bomb, Time Clock.
You see, we can't even remember.
Time,
But you know what I want?
time.
You know what? That's
I know.
Culture Club.
Sorry, that's the one I remember. I'm sorry.
I was going to say one more thing about the Grammys, then we'll talk
Okay,
about
then
the
we
actual
got-
word.
yeah.
Okay, have you read about this shit show that's going on with Aerosmith?
Wow. I mean, when the motherfucker is 100 is when you decide to be like, you need to audition to play with.
I mean, he's been their drummer.
But didn't he have his hand? There's something with his hands, right? And didn't he have surgery or something?
No, he took some time off for whatever reason, and then.
Stephen and Joe have put that band through so much bullshit. Like, how are you
Come
gonna be?
on. I think he's always been their drummer. No, he has not always been their drummer. Tito.
But he has been
their
there for
drummer.
a gazillion years.
He's been their drummer for 3/4 of their career, and so now he is suing. So the whole thing is just so.
They're playing tomorrow, right?
With
Isn't it?
Run DMC,
Yeah.
who don't talk to each other.
They don't.
Joe, from what I understand, Joe and Daryl are not like best of friends, whatever. But the whole thing is such bullshit. So they always said there would never be a Run DMC. once Jay died.
Uh-huh.
They have Jay's kid, which is fine. They're keeping in the family. I'm sure they sound great. But the whole idea of that it's supposed to be, nostalgia, unity, and you've got a band where the drummer is suing you, and then you've got
two motherfuckers who don't talk to each other.
And well, allegedly, I've heard they don't get along amazing, which is
Right.
whatever. But
You mean the way Salt and Pepper always treat Spinderella? Poor Spinderella.
this is a complete sidebar, and then we will. But do you watch Breakfast Club, right? You watch?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you see Tretch on last week?
What is with you and your fascination with him?
No, he looks amazing.
I guess.
I mean, and their daughter is gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to say, and he said that Salt Pepper, who was he married to? Pepper. And the threesomes, did you hear about that?
And then he said our marriage broke up because she would leave with the girls. It was just like, you know what? I'm not doing this with you people today. I'm not doing
it's
this.
7:30 in the morning.
It's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing. First of all, have you seen Pepper? She looks like a completely different person.
Oh, she looks
what
like
the hell happened?
She was a cute girl. She's a nice girl. I've done a lot of interviews
She
with
looks
her.
like a different person.
She looks like Little Kim underwater. She looks crazy.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The show's over.
I mean, she had some
underwater.
Well, that's when you get distorted, right? She is a gorgeous girl. She's smart. She's funny. She's super cool. Why? She had some work done, and now it's like, why is she doing that to herself?
It's really the body dysmorphia and stuff that people have is kind of nuts. It's like, I am not against you doing something. Do whatever you want to do. Tweak yourself. Feel good. But don't not look like yourself.
No, she doesn't look like herself anymore. And I do adore them, and they're lovely women. All right, let's get to the Grammys. All right. I don't know.
Care?
No, we don't. But
Okay.
we want to talk about it.
All right.
I personally do not. I always hate people say I personally. Obviously, me personally. Another person. I'm not sure if I'm going to watch because, as you know, tomorrow's 90 Day Fiancé,
right.
the show that I discovered that's been on for 20 years, just like you discovered Say Yes to the Dress.
Yes, which I'm already over.
Oh, you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Oh, because you found out because you're like petty and you didn't discover it.
No, and then like once I paid a charge to watch again, I was like, oh, I'm not feeling emotional today. This is dumb.
Well, so I am going to
moved on to Cheer, where Sheryl Crow where Sheryl Crow heads a cheerleading team in a school in Navarro, Texas.
Oh, I thought it was a documentary.
It is a documentary, but the lady looks like Sheryl Crow, so I call her Sheryl Crow.
Oh.
From certain angles, she's Sheryl Crow. From other angles, she looks like Patricia Arquette. But just really, it's mostly Sheryl Crow.
Interesting.
The kids be falling and breaking their legs and shit, and she's standing there like, can you get up? All right, y'all, we need to get back on this pyramid because the competition's in 2 weeks. And I'm like, Sheryl Crow's a bitch.
You can
I love
tell
this
it's
show.
winter in New York. We're housebound and watching the stupidest shit.
It's so good with the boys with bad haircuts. I just want to go down there with my clippers and be like, everybody sit down.
Well,
just sit down.
If they were black, you could cut off their
no,
dreadlocks.
they are
it's
black.
Texas.
Oh, Lord, right. Let's not even. All right, so let's go into the.
All right. So, as I said, I am going to be watching 90 Day Fiancé and switching back and forth. All right. So, the record of the year. So, record of the year goes to the producer or the songwriter?
The songwriters.
Okay. So, we have, and I had to Google half of these because I'd never fucking heard them. Hey Ma by, is it Bon Iver or Bon Iver?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
Hey Ma. It's not bad. Whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Bad Guy by Billie Eilish.
Okay, yeah.
Seven Rings by
Ariana. Okay.
and Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Okay.
Well, Talk by Khaled and Disclosure. I don't get him at all. He to me just looks like the guy that can.
Khalid, not Khaled. Khalid.
Is he Khalid?
There's DJ Khaled and there's Khalid.
And then there's Khaled, the Algerian singer.
But this is Khalid featuring Disclosure.
Okay.
that's a good song, but that's not song of the year.
It's not song of the year.
It should go to Billie Eilish.
No, he's the guy that looks like he's picked last for the team. Sorry.
Okay.
Hard Place by HER, which came out like a million. She sang it last year on stage. She did. It's a great song. Old Town Road. Truth Hurts, which came out in 2017.
Yeah, but they re-released it.
And Sunflower by the man,
with Post Malone
the
and
human,
Sugar
the human papillomavirus.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. Honey, there's a pill for that.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's my feeling about Record of the Year. To me, it should be I take these things. It should be something that made some kind of something. Made some kind of something.
If it's that, it's Old Town Road.
Right.
Because even though they did 90 versions of it, that song was #1 from like April.
I don't think they're going
to
to give him that. I think it's going to be between Billy and Lizzo.
Well, I don't know. They won't give it to Lizzo there, I don't think.
All right, so you think they'll give her for something else? But I think it's all right. Then it's between Billie and Lil Nas X.
It deserves.
I think Billie deserves it more.
I think she deserves it for the songwriting craft of it all, and it being such a capturing a moment. But there is no denying, even though to me Old Town Road is a novelty record,
it is.
There is no denying just how fucking huge and how long.
But are they going to give him? They might give it that, then give him Song of the Year then instead of record.
True. Or they might give them both, because sometimes people get them both. You know,
the production, I don't know, it might be weird with production because there's so much sampling going on.
I was saying they might not give it to him because he bought the beat off of one of the situations.
Two things. That means Trent Reznor would get a Grammy.
Oh, God.
Okay, so there's that. All right, we'll go to Best New Artist.
Mm-hmm.
Black Pumas, who are pretty good, but they're not going to win.
Yeah.
Lizzo, Billie, Nas X, Maggie Rogers, or the white girl who just discovered a Casio. I don't get her at all. I don't fucking get her at all. Rosalia, who I love, she's not going to get it. Tank and the Bangas, who are great, but they're not going to get it. This is the NPR acts here. Tank and the Bangas and Yola, who is great.
Yeah.
She's not going to get it.
No, this
is Lizzo's.
This is Lizzo or Billie. And honestly, I think this is where they will give it to Lizzo.
Lizzo.
I think they'll give it to Lizzo.
Okay.
This is the one I think she'll get.
Yeah, she'll get this
We'll
one.
think it's going to be Billie because it's almost like that Fiona Apple thing. They love that singer-songwriting girl. But they will be like, her brother writes the music. I don't know. I feel that weird shit where they'll make, this will be the one where like, we see you, Lizzo, because you're nominated for 8 and you're only going to maybe win 1 or 2. So we'll give you Best New Artist.
Well, I definitely think it's going to be something where they always say the Best New Artist is like a curse, too.
Yeah.
But I don't think they will give it to Lil Nas X.
No,
and here's why. Because there's no second album in this kid.
Well, how about a first album? Because you only put out an EP. Let's start with the first one.
Okay, so he's a great...
And not being burned out from one song.
He's a great figurehead, and he's a great role model, and the story is great.
I love it. I love everything about it. But I will save judgment for you, sir. I need to hear a full album. I want to see some growth. I don't want it to seem like a novelty act.
Right, because
it's like, now we all know you're gay. You're done. It's cool. You don't have to. Now let's get into what are you trying to say with your music? What is this career telling me?
Do something that doesn't rely on all the remixes.
All right, let's go with the song.
Our song of the year is Always Remember Us That Way, which is... Who the fuck is... Oh, Lady Gaga. Did she put out a song this year? Yeah, whatever. Bad Guy, Billie.
Yeah. That's going to be the one.
That's going to be the one. Bring My Flowers Now by Tanya Tucker. That could be because Belinda Carla.
Brandy Carlisle.
Whatever. They like her.
Yeah.
They do have to throw country a bone.
But she's nominated in a bunch of country categories, and she's going to win this year in those country categories.
All right, Hard Place. Who's Hard Place?
Wait, I know. Let's see.
That's her. Lover, Taylor Swift. This motherfucker. Louis Capaldi, please.
No,
yeah.
This is Billie. That's the Billie Award.
It's Billie. And Truth Hurts.
It's the Billie Award.
It's the Billie. Mm-hmm. It's a better song. Truth Hurts is a great song. But
Juice would have been more like, I think everybody really knows that Truth, but people like Truth Hurts. Truth Hurts. But
the Billie Eilish song, I think, is more. All right. And then Album of the Year.
Yeah.
Bon Iver, I, whatever. Mm-hmm. Norman fucking Rockwell, which would be great.
That would be amazing if that won, because it actually is a
good. It's a really good record.
To me, her best body of work.
Oh, totally.
To date.
And Jack Antonoff, who's the producer, is somebody who Grammy loves. It's a very good record. Thank you, next, Ariana.
I would love if Beyonce worked with him and did a full album with him, one producer, and worked with Jack.
Oh, yeah?
I think that just to make another pop album, because she hasn't made a pop album in years.
Are you saying you love or you would
love?
I would
love that.
Oh, that would be great.
I think her with him would be incredible.
Or her with Billie's brother.
Just like one producer,
cohesive.
Go in there.
There's something to be said for that. There's something to be said for a cohesive sound.
Yeah.
All right, so thank you next, Ariana. I used to know her by her, obviously. 7, which is appropriately the name of Lil Nas X album because there's only 7 fucking songs on it. The Lizzo album, and this is the one where you go, all right, who got knocked off? Father of the Bride by Vampire Weekend? I mean, they're not a bad band, but really?
No,
Did that record resonate in the culture in any way?
I don't know.
And it's no disrespect. I like them, but I'm like...
You know what? I actually think...
All right, what do you think?
I actually think,
Ariana?
for some reason, I think Lizzo could snatch that award.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think
because she's got so much momentum, and those songs are just uplifting, and she's got that personality. It all goes
Billie
into
Eilish is not nominated.
And that's the thing.
Why is she not nominated for
That's
this?
the weird part when you see, and now
because that's a great album.
Exactly. It's a body of work.
Yeah.
And I do think Lizzo's album is a good album.
Out of all these,
it's the most exciting to me.
it's the most exciting. It's the game changer. I could see it. Now, weirdly enough, I could see it going for Lana Ray.
Yeah.
Because this is the category where suddenly all these albums are up and suddenly Herbie Hancock wins.
Right.
Or Beck wins.
Right.
I could see the L.A. white boy, who's the biggest voting body in this? It's the singers and the songwriters, right?
Yep.
I could see them going for that because she is someone, she was controversial in the beginning, but now she is someone who is respected. She's paid her dues. She went through she's bullshit, and she's a white girl.
Right.
Is she performing tomorrow?
I don't even know who's performing.
Well,
I'm not even paying. There's so much other shit going on. I'm like,
90 Day Fiancé is on.
Yeah.
It's going to be really big tomorrow. They are in Nigeria deciding they're going to get married. So I would not be surprised if Norman fucking Rockwell wins.
That would be great.
Yeah, but I think
it would almost
Lizzo
be
will.
like it would almost. I think Lizzo will, but I think it would be a great surprise because it would almost be like, you know what, we know we've treated you, because the industry's kind of treated her like shit.
Well,
and
she brought it on herself.
She had that one performance that was weird and awkward, but it was the worst thing she did to me on that Saturday Night Live performance was she wore the same fucking dress for both songs. I'm like, Miss Thing.
Yeah, really. Everyone knows a
It's
costume
like,
change.
this is Saturday Night Live.
Exactly.
Is that the same gown on the second song?
Really,
what is happening?
It was the first
Where's
album.
the fucking budget?
She didn't-
Where are
yeah,
the
where
people?
is the
Where
budget?
are the gays in your camp?
She didn't have enough gays. And her plastic surgery bothers me, but that's okay.
Where are the queens in your camp that were like, girl,
I know.
we can't come out for the
You know
second
what's
song
so
with this.
crazy, though, is that fucking Father of the Bride record could win.
Yeah, weird shit. Weird, strange shit.
So what's Little Nas? What are they going to give Little Nas X other than more money than God? I mean, seriously, there's no way he can fucking win rap single.
No, he just can't.
No,
I don't think
because
he's gonna win anything.
He doesn't rap.
And I don't think. Listen, I think it was a great song for what it was. I don't think it's a Grammy winning song.
No, not at all. It's
I mean, but then again,
song.
that's stranger shit, right? Because fucking who brought the dogs out? Which
Did that win something?
Yes, it won like best pop vocal group or duo or some shit. Yes, that is a Grammy fucking winning song.
That's
this thing.
ridiculous.
That's a Grammy winning song.
That's fucking no. I mean, look, I love the idea of Little Nas
I love
X.
it all.
I love that it unites the culture.
I
and
love
blah,
it
blah.
all.
But I don't see career longevity with him.
I'm going to wait and judge until I get a full body of work and I see what he's giving me. Is it a motif? Is it a thing? Do you really have something to say?
Are you going to talk about being gay?
Well, or just now life shit. You're a rap artist. Let's go. Even though I also think Cardi B is late. She should have had a second album by now. It's like these kids are taking too long in between records
She
in
had a
this day
baby.
and age.
Yeah.
She had a baby during the first album.
Oh yeah.
and came back. That was during the first album.
Just in the world.
And that baby's 14 now.
That is true. The baby's going to put out an album. Just in the world music category, friends of the show, Burna Boy and Angelique Kidjo are both nominated.
Love that. Burna Boy's gonna win.
I think so.
He's gonna win.
Yeah.
So
they should put, and it's ridiculous that he's in a world music
Right.
fucking category.
I mean, but that's
whatever. Yeah.
Again, our problem with the Grammys, right? So Amy and I, we were trying to think, well, what's the music that we loved, 80s, 90s, that didn't really get the recognition that it should have gotten in the U.S., that all were Grammy worthy in their time. And we started talking about Brit soul music that we love and acid jazz and stuff.
Love.
And I know that you, like me, share a love.
I do like you. And you like me.
I do. You share a love for the Young Disciples.
Let me tell you something. The only club I've ever been to in London was Subterranean. Did you ever go there?
I never went there.
And it was owned by one of the guys. Fucking Young Disciples, man. That ruled my world in 1991. Talking Loud Records, which was co-founded by Carleen Anderson.
Yeah.
Daughter of Lynn Anderson, James Brown singer. That's why it's called Talking Loud. Talking Loud and saying nothing. Right. Talking Loud put out Young Disciples were like their premier act, but Talking Loud with Giles Patterson, Omar, Galliano, Incognito, Ronnie Size, who I was just listening to this. How fucking I hadn't listened to Ronnie. Solar, MC Solar.
MC motherfucker Solar, the French MC. Listen, guys, you need to this is a good thing about streaming.
Oh, it's
you
the best
can type
thing about
in anything.
streaming. There,
I need
you can talk in Talking Loud Records, and their roster will come up, and you can listen to.
I need you to go on there and pull up Young Disciples.
That's first time. What was it called?
Road to Freedom. And I need you to just put it on. It is the kind of album, like, if you're, okay, here comes the bougie music industry side. You know, like when you're at the beach house, right, with your friends, it is the perfect, especially when they got the house is wired and everything.
Right.
It is that perfect, put that album on while y'all are laughing, everybody's inside, outside, your drinks, and you're talking, driving in your car, grooving in your house.
But it also, and I know exactly what you're saying, but this is the thing, because there's a very thin line between vibey and snoozy.
No, because it's not snoozy. No, it's a full vibe.
It engages you.
And you can vibe it in a lot of different scenarios.
Yeah.
And there's this one track called Freedom, the Freedom Suite.
Amazing.
That is just, I was listening to it today, and I'm like, this shit still sounds so
great.
fucking good.
We played this record.
You can't even tell when it's time. It's not dated. It is completely
1992, right?
1992.
Yeah, great.
And which then, Carlene Anderson,
right,
who was
True Spirit,
who was the singer, and they had Apparently Nothing became their big hit,
right,
and that got her a deal with Virgin,
right,
and she puts out True Spirit, which was just
great record,
a great Mama Said, and
Island was putting out these great compilations for a while. They had Solar. There was this whole moment in time.
Yeah,
it's when Guru, the Jazzmatazz records, and this and so where it was this great mishmash, and a lot of it was centered in England has always had a special relationship with American soul music.
Right. And Carlene is American.
Yeah.
But she moved to the UK.
Where
and
she
that's where her career happened.
She would not, because they have this. England is the only country in the world where if you were the third singer in Martha and the Vandellas, you can have a club career there, because like that Northern Soul thing, they revere the weird label.
Well, they're more, listen, they're just more open than we are here in the U.S. with shit and music. They are like, we love it. It sounds great. We're into it. Here, everybody's like, who is this?
Well, I think, we'll talk. So it's those kind of people we're talking about. We're talking, some of the singers.
Yeah, but hold on. I want to get off track. I want to finish talking about Carlene for a quick second.
Yeah.
Because then she has a second album, and this is the one, Blessed Burden. And her rendition of Paul McCartney's from his solo album, Maybe I'm Amazed, is
song.
Just like,
send it to me. I want to hear it.
I will totally send it to you.
Yeah.
And her single Woman in Me, is just.
That's a great song.
That album it's just that voice. It is a period in time. She is fucking amazing.
No, she was a great singer.
Yeah.
So another singer who was like that was Sharon Nelson, who ended up with Massive
Attack. I love Sharon Nelson.
She ended up with She was Unfinished Symphony.
Yeah. That whole album, Blue Line. She's the vocalist on Blue Line.
She's the vocalist.
And then she did she had that solo deal, and they put out the record here on
great
EMI.
Record.
Yeah. Down That Road is a great single. There's a great Frankie Knuckles Def Knuckle mix on Down That Road for your old school,
and
early 90s house moment.
So Shara, one of my favorite singers I love from back then was Lyndon David Hall, the late Lyndon David Hall.
Yeah.
More in the kind of smooth lover boy R&B, very sexy. He unfortunately passed away. I was a big Ephraim Lewis fan.
He was great.
Ephraim had an American deal. Died right on the cusp.
He was on Elektra.
Right.
They put that first album out, Skin, which people loved.
I saw him
at
a showcase.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He did a showcase.
And Fred was at Elektra at that time, and I didn't get to see him.
I saw it was at the Edison Hotel.
Wow.
He killed himself. Yeah, it was really.
Didn't
sad.
he jumped off a terrace or something? He was
high or something. It was
like that. Yeah, it was very. Right when he was supposed to start recording the second record. Listen, I was at Columbia when Jeff Buckley had gone down to New Orleans to start recording his second album. Jumped into Mississippi to swim and got Mississippi looks calm. It has hard currents and was drowned.
Well, I was just going to say one of my theory. Here's my theory. So the Brits, to me, like Paul Young to me is like the quintessential. Paul Young is from the 80s. Paul Young could take a Joy Division song, a Marvin Gaye song, and a Daryl Hall and Joan Oates song, and make them his own.
Right.
I think the Brits, and please correct me if I'm wrong, I think the Brits, not that isn't racist over there, it's very racist over there, but they have a different connection because
Don't tell them that. They're mad. They feel like people are calling them racist because of the Meghan Markle stuff. They're like, we're not racist, and now the whole world thinks we're racist. It was like, you ran Harry out the country.
Well, it's good. He bores me anyway. Maybe now he can meet his real father.
Oh my God, the shade of this show.
But it's a different kind of relationship.
Yeah.
It's the same thing where
There's they appreciate our soul music
also,
and stuff.
and we appreciate this. There is stuff that's like big here that's British that they can't stand,
right?
And vice versa. You know how when you used to go over to England or France or something for work, and you would go to the record company and you would want an album. You didn't even know what it sounded like. Oh, it's British. It must be good.
Right.
Oh, it's a British artist. Oh, it's got to be amazing. Or the packaging's different from our artist. It's got to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So there was just this kind of, and it's also a much smaller country. Let's keep in mind.
Yeah, but to me, I didn't feel like the way about everybody because I felt like there was a period of some of those '90s artists who were trying to do almost American style R&B, and it didn't work. And then there were others who I thought were great. I thought Gabrielle was great.
Gabrielle was great. She had an American deal.
Yeah, she did. She had hits here.
Right. Like, Soul to Soul was probably the biggest example of someone who made it here.
Absolutely.
And Desiree.
Yeah, Desiree did make it here.
And Desiree.
Absolutely.
And Terrence Trent D'Arby, who people thought was English, was actually American.
I mean, what about Misha Paris?
Misha Paris, South of the River, is one of the best fucking songs ever.
Prince wrote that for her.
Did he write that?
Yes.
Oh,
Prince
that's a fucking great song. So there you go. That's all you need to know about her.
She never had a top 10 album here, but do you know what? She did not have. None of her albums were top 10 in the UK either. She had big singles, but none of the albums were actually top 10. But she was a star there.
She
had
star.
big songs.
Yeah,
big
I
songs.
interviewed her a million years ago. She's great. Craig David was great. That's not really that era.
But Craig David, and he's still around. He's still putting out number one. He just had a number one album last year.
I know.
2018 in the UK.
I made my little list. Beverly Knight. I love Beverly Knight.
She was the shit for a minute. She was big, and Jamila. Jamila had this album, Thank You, that
great.
I love. She was great. Thank You, and DJ, and I Can See It in a Boy's Eyes, and Superstar. Great songs.
Also, Omar?
You know what? I've always appreciated him.
Hot and Cold with him.
But Hot and Cold.
I can take a limited amount. Can I just tell you my weirdest one out of all these? Well, no, the one that made it here, oddly enough, was Lisa Stansfield, obviously.
And she's the white one.
Yay, white people. I love Jeffrey Williams. Do you remember him?
From Shalimar? No, that's Jeffrey Daniels.
I love him
Jeffrey
too.
Williams. No, I don't know.
Okay, he was on Atlantic for like a hot minute, and he had a record. More rock. He got lumped in with I'll give you the title. It's a great. It's called. It's not a love. No, it's called Bear. The album's called Bear.
Oh, okay.
And it's really, really. It's just that they had an interesting perspective on things. They weren't as immersed. Image was not as crucial. Sharon Elson. You could be a big girl before Lizzo.
Yeah.
You didn't necessarily have to have that church vocals that we expect everybody. It was more experimentation.
Yeah.
And then Lewis Taylor. Lewis Taylor, I think, is probably the finest example of that acid jazz.
Yeah.
Were you ever into him, or kind of, sort of?
No, not really. I didn't go too deep. I was really, I went to more of a trip. Oh, you know what? I was more de-influence. Really.
Okay.
I was de-influence, and then I moved into the trip hop area. So I was Tricky.
Well, that's a
Finley
whole
Quay,
different.
Massive Attack. It's a whole different thing. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, you're also coming at it. You're coming at it. You're listening to production in a different way than I would listen to production.
Right.
I mean, the only instrument I understand is singing, because I know how to sing. So I can hear production, but you're able to listen to it and deconstruct it. Look, that's a big word.
Right.
In a very different sort of way. But there is, there was an era. Oh, Simply Red. That's who we wanted to talk about. Simply Red is sort of like the forgotten. They were kind of like one of those early kind of UK soul things.
And now they're not.
Blue-eyed soul. That's what they thought.
No.
Right.
Holding Back the Years. Money's Too Tight to Mention.
Great stuff. For white artists, obviously, it's and then there's that weird line of like being reverent without being like copying, and he always managed to do it. Jamiroquai.
Yeah, Jamiroquai, great.
How crazy is this? As I was on my way walking here, a guy is walking down my street singing "Just an Illusion."
That's still, listen, that's still a club classic here in New York. That's a New York club
But just
classic.
so crazy that we're on, and Mama used to say, Junior.
That's my shit.
That's
Mama
a great.
used to say, "Take your time, young man."
And the crashing No, there was just there was this moment. I think it was because we were by this point where at least I was. We're in our early 30s, and it was like we were going to clubs, but not
No,
really.
how about this? We liked it all because it was great, and it's still
it was
great.
No, but also you could sit and listen to the stuff. It didn't require the same kind of and the vocals were so important.
Yeah.
It's a great movement. It's like I said, this whole UK soul, it's still making an influence. I mean, you still have that influence now. I just think it was a really great. We'll put up a playlist because we do love a playlist.
And listen, some of these like the De-Influence records, I know like a lot of people remember the Good for We album because that was the one that really exploded. But then there was Prayer for Unity, and then the London album, just really good songwriting, really great singing, really great production. And I've been digging back into a lot of those records. Like I was playing Young Soul Rebels by Misha, and then I played Apparently Nothing. I just started being like, wow, these songs still sound good these years later.
Yeah.
You know?
But check out, like we said, we'll put it up, but some of these people who never got records released here, like Lyndon David Hall, like Roachford, only had one album released here.
When Roachford was a big
hit, Cuddly Toy.
Are you sure only one was released here?
Yeah.
The second album wasn't released here because they were on Columbia. I think more than one album got released here, but the first one was the one here,
right?
That they gave him a hit song,
right.
You know. But overseas, like Roachford was the shit.
Yeah,
you know?
He was totally. But we'll put it up because it's a very interesting. It's sort of like a music person's music.
Yeah.
And not in a snotty
And for some of you
way.
who know it, you probably haven't listened to them in a long time. If you go back and dig in and start listening to some of these albums again, you're going to be like, oh shit, this shit is fresh. I remember this.
Young Disciples has not aged.
It's still so good.
I know.
It's still so good.
I wore that album out.
And then they have the remix album, Road to Freedom, the remixes, and it's really good, really, really, really good. And they didn't go on for longer because Carlene left.
Right.
And
is she still singing?
She's still singing.
Okay.
You know, overseas, like where
of course
she's singing where her audience is.
Exactly.
You know, around the world. Like the U.S. is always the one. Everybody's like, I tour all over the world. I just don't really come to the U.S. because that's not where my audience is.
No, that's Sandra St. Victor just gigs all throughout Europe because people are eager for it.
Yep.
You know, in a different way. Anyway, what
Victoria
do we
St. James.
Oh my God, you're just calling out the Wayback Machine, man.
Victoria St. James. Shout out to Victoria St. James.
Oh my God, the Wayback Machine. All right, so what do we want to wrap things up with? Megan didn't really. Megan, I'm sure Megan McCain, of course, said stupid shit
but
this week.
But we haven't been watching
because she's Megan McCain,
right.
So she can't help. I mean, of course, she's the only conservative in New York City. Did you know
that? Married to a prominent
Puerto Rican family.
Yeah.
But Courtney and I are both political junkies, but to me, watching these impeachment hearings is like watching somebody beat somebody up and you can't stop it.
Yeah.
And I can't.
I'm really worn out.
There's not enough churros in the world I'm really into the churros lately.
I know, I love a good churro.
I'm a good churro.
Good.
So we just really haven't paid as much attention to it other than to say, rest assured, Meghan McCain will say stupid shit today. She'll say stupid shit tomorrow.
And she'll be like, my father, and I campaigned for him because, you know, I come from a political family.
And she'll always look off into the audience to these invisible people.
That's right, sir. You mean, you don't, listen. I'm paid to give my opinion, okay?
We're paid to... Oh, no, we're not paid. I want to give a little shout out. For those of you in the tri-state area, please stop by the new International Center for Photography.
Oh, our girl Vicky
Toback and Contact High. It's a brand new building. It's in the Lower East Side in my old neighborhood. Didn't even know where I was. I was like, where am I? Look at this. Beautiful new building. The Contact High exhibit, which has been in L.A., which has been in foreign countries. Now it's back home. Great collection of well-known and sort of outtakes from great photographers. So please go check that out. Buy the book. Support our friend Vicky. What else? Anything else?
What I want to say is we have a new Facebook page.
Yes,
so go to
do.
Facebook, like us, and follow our I'ma Let You Finish, all one word, page on Facebook.
Please.
Follow us on Instagram at I'ma Let You Finish New York NY. Follow Listening Party at Listening Party Presents on Instagram. Follow Canal Street Radio at Canal Street Radio on Instagram. Listen,
and we're on Stitcher.
We're on Stitcher now. So everywhere where you listen to your podcast, we're like herpes. You can find us in a corner hiding someplace, and occasionally we pop out.
Oh, look, one of the Jonas Brothers is standing over there. And also, we'll come to, if you give us a churro and a Subway fare, we'll come to your house and perform the show for you.
Yes, must have joint. And I just want to say before we end this lovely episode 12,
Our last show of we've made it through a month of January.
Yes, we have. Grammys, do better.
Yeah,
be
do
better.
better,
Do
please.
better. Be better. And everybody, let's start kind of treating our sisters better. And fellas, we need to help our sisters because they need our help. You know what I mean? Because this is some bullshit.
We should not be, in 2020, we should not be having a conversation about whether a woman can be president and whether women can run organizations or women be in a rock and roll
men,
hall of fame.
We have to step up. We can't let women fight this fight alone because
No.
this is kind of bullshit. And every time we keep hearing something and it's worse and worse and worse. And as men, we can't be quiet and just let women be on the front line.
Whereas when something bad happens to a man, I think women should applaud it.
And on that note, kids, thank you very much. We'll see you in February.
Bye.
Deuces.
It's NFL draft season, and that means it's time to start thinking about fantasy football. FantasyPoints.com features industry-leading experts and prognosticators using proprietary hand-charted data to help you score more fantasy points. FantasyPoints.com is the place to go for whatever kind of fantasy football you play. Whether you play fantasy football, daily fantasy sports, or do a little bit of everything, Fantasy Points has the meticulously researched content to guide you to victory. And why wait for the fall? Fantasy Points also covers the new spring football league, the UFL. Join the guru, John Hansen, Scott Barrett, Joe Dolan, and other massive names in the fantasy football universe with an exclusive offer. Use code Pantheon for 15% off any Fantasy Points package, including the all-in package, with access to every article, tool, and data nugget that Fantasy Points has to offer. That's FantasyPoints.com and code Pantheon for 15% off at Fantasy Points. FantasyPoints.com, code Pantheon. Score more fantasy points.